This is an excerpt from the new novel, My Bowels Shall Move, by Ron Van Dam and John Shanahan. Read by Mr. Shanahan. Lydia considered the bowl on the table. It was deep green, ceramic, glinting slightly in the cool morning light coming in through the kitchen window. Inside were small brown pellets, flecked with something also brown and a little green. "What is it?" she asked. Tom smiled. She loved that smile. It was reassuring but not condescending, and in it was the remnant glow of their passionate lovemaking from the night before. "It's called All Bran," he said, really packed with fiber. He shrugged. "Doesn't taste all that great, but this isn't just about taste, Lydia." "I understand," she said. He sat across from her and pulled the bowl a little toward him. His deep brown eyes were still cloudy with sleep. "See, I've also sprinkled it with some flaxseed. You won't even taste it, but it will do a lot of the work. Plus your apple juice has psyllium husk in it, in case you wondered why it might have tasted a little grainy. That stuff's the real deal." "Tom, are you sure?" she began, but his smile stopped her. She loved that smile. "Listen to me, Lydia. I've been eating like this for a long time, even before we met. I don't tell people about it much. It's not the sort of thing you bring up in conversation. But when someone you care about is having, well, these kinds of issues—" "Oh, Tom," she burst out, "don't say it like that. It sounds like I have some kind of psychological problem. I don't have issues. I'm... "Go on," Tom said. "You can say it, Lydia. You can say it to me." Her voice was a small, weak whisper, but she needed to speak the words, to give herself the strength of truth. "I am constipated," she said. This has been an excerpt from the new novel My Bowels Shall Move by Ron Van Dam and John Shanahan. On the air everywhere, this is New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Oh boy, oh boy. Hey, welcome to the program. It's the Ron Van Dam Show. I am Ron Van Dam. Look at me. See, it's me. Oh, it's hot outside, man. It's hot outside. Ooh. You know the old expression, I've said this before, where you could crack an egg on the sidewalk, it's so hot, and the egg would actually fry right on the sidewalk. Well, yesterday I tested out that theory, and I actually did an entire dinner. I did a pot roast. I took the meat, marinated it overnight, put it right on the sidewalk. Some small little red potatoes and little spinach au gratin. I put that right on the sidewalk, and within about half an hour, dinner's ready. Want to try some fried ice cream? Here's a great recipe. You take a scoop of vanilla ice cream, put it in a dish, coat it with mashed up cornflakes or granola, and then mix that together in the bowl. Take the large clump of that mixture and put it on the sidewalk for no more than, I'd say, 35 seconds. Pick up that ball of ice cream. It's nicely fried now. It's a wonderful, wonderful dish. You like chicken? You like fried chicken? Who doesn't like fried chicken? Just don't eat too much of it. But my God, it's wonderful. Take a piece of chicken, coat it in batter with a little bit of, maybe a stricter batter, throw some breadcrumbs and some beat up egg or something, and dip the chicken in the batter. Take the chicken, put it on the pavement in the afternoon when it's about 110 degrees outside. Let that chicken sit there for about a minute and a half. Pick up the chicken, not with your hands, it's going to be too hot. Use some tongs and enjoy that fried chicken. It'll melt in your mouth. Nicely done. Moist and hot and beautiful. Fried golden chicken on the sidewalk. And I love cheese. Here's what you do. Take a slice of bread, put some cheese on the top of it. Put that right on the sidewalk, face down. Only let it sit there for less than a minute, and then pick it up with a spatula, and you have got some of the greatest grilled cheese sandwiches ever on a nice hot day. Hi, welcome to the program. I am Ron Van Dam. Thanks for being here today. You are just some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. So stupid, I can't believe it. Yeah, it's hot outside, baby. It's hot outside, baby. It's not so much the heat, it's the humidity. You can go to Phoenix where it's like 114 degrees in the shade and not break a sweat. Or you can go to a major city like Boston or New York when it's like 95 degrees and humid and be brought to a hospital by a paramedic. It's kind of odd, isn't it? If I hear one more person say, "Ooh, I couldn't wait for the hot weather, I love this hot weather," I'm going to take your body and dip it in some type of, melted plastic, and you tell me how much you like this hot weather then. Hot weather my ass. Ooh, hot weather my ass. My lordy. This is crazy. I got a great guest coming up. PA Brook joins me a little bit later on in the program. It's an extended interview. He's written a book, If I Were God, which I can relate to. When I was younger, when people started telling me about this Jesus thing, I thought, could I be the reincarnation of Jesus? And I'll tell you why I say this, not because I think that much of myself, or because on occasion I'll walk on water. That's not it. When I was younger, in my late teens, early 20s, somewhere in that area, I actually looked like Jesus. My hair down to my shoulders, not that different now, to be honest with you. Full beard. I had that Jesus look about me. I looked serious yet lovable. Again, similar to where I am right now. But I look like Jesus, and I'll tell you a very quick funny story, because it's really not that funny and it's really not that quick, but it's absolutely true. I looked so much like Jesus when I was younger that it was a little disheartening. Yeah. Here's that funny story right now.
And now it's time for one of Ron's funny stories. You could practically hear the quotes around funny, couldn't you?
This is a funny story. Keep that in mind. This is a funny story. When I was about, I'd say, 18 years old, I looked exactly like Jesus. Jesus and I were like blood brothers, appearance-wise. I looked so much like Jesus that when I got up in the morning to brush my teeth, I'd look in the mirror and go, "Jesus? Yeah, it was freaky." I decided with a friend to take a long car trip down to Florida, down to Coral Gables, Florida, from the New York area. And I got in my car and I drove, man. I drove down Route 95 to Florida. I made many stops. One of them was in South Carolina, What was I thinking? I remember it was a nice looking place. It was like a cocktail lounge kind of thing, and and down there in those days you could drink at 18, I believe. That or I just did it anyway. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. So I pulled my car up to this bar saloon kind of place. And I was a young guy. I had no idea what South Carolina is like. I had heard that it can be kind of, be careful. I walked in, and as soon as I walked into the bar, these gigantic men, they were Amazons. They were dressed like they had just come from a tractor pull. Turned around, like 3 or 4 guys turned around, sitting at the bar, turn around. I come walking into the bar. One of them looks at me, smiles and says, "Well, looky here. Look what we have here. Jesus just walked into the bar." I thought, okay, I'm going to die. And not on a cross, in a bar. These guys, as it turned out, were just joking and just having a good time and had a few too many drinks and saw a guy walk in, skinny-looking guy, beard, long hair. It looked like Jesus to them. And then I kind of turned around and I realized, wow, when I walked in the door, the sun was behind me. I kind of looked like there was a halo behind me or some type of religious light that propelled me into the bar. And I thought, okay, I look like Jesus. It looks like I'm coming in from a brightly lit heaven behind me. As I walked into the bar and the incandescent lights started lighting up my face, these guys got freaked out and thought I was really Jesus. To be honest with you, I don't even need a couple of drinks to look like Jesus. So I smiled and I laughed with them, which probably saved my life. Needless to say, I didn't stay and have any drinks because I thought I'd get the you-know-what kicked out of me if I just did anything wrong. So I simply asked for directions, which I didn't need, but it was my vehicle to get out of there quickly. Excuse me, do you know where Route 95? Yeah, it's right there. You just came off it. Thank you very much. I got to go. Bye-bye. Jesus, out! I think I saved my own life right there. That's my funny story.
And that was another funny story from Ron. Wait, that was supposed to be funny? Wow.
You are listening to The Ron Van Dam Show, refined entertainment for a sophisticated audience who sometimes enjoy a good fart joke.
I don't really enjoy a good fart joke, to be honest with you. It's just too easy. I like to do things that are hard. I don't know what the hell that meant, to be honest with you, but nonetheless. Ladies and gentlemen, I do this show out of the Boston area. Why? Because it's nearby. And this is the hottest June and July on record, certainly the hottest July for many parts of the country, and actually for many parts of the world. The hottest part of the world has been in the what I call the Middle East area, which is your Israel, your Iraq, your Iran, your Thailand, that kind of, that whole area there, your Indonesia, your underpants, all that's been the hottest part of the world ever recorded high temperatures in July of this year. It makes you kind of think, uh-oh, things are getting too hot. It's not called global warming, it's climate change. You know what it's called? Freaking hot, ridiculous weather. And for those of you that think weather comes in cycles, shut up. It comes hot is what it comes in, and don't give me that stuff. I cannot stand the heat. I don't own a pool. Thank you very much. I don't own a pool. I don't think dipping my toes or my head in a pool is going to make a difference when it's 110 degrees outside. That's my personal hotel pools, man. Did you ever go into a hotel pool? Watch out. Watch out. You know why? Because there are other people on the planet with us. You know, it's not just us. There's other people walking around, and they pee in pools. That's what they do. They walk around the planet. They see, like, pools and hotels and things like that, and they walk up to it, drop their pants, and they pee in it. That's what they do. And sometimes they're not as obvious about it, you know, because they're just wearing swimming trunks, nothing else. These are the guys, by the way. I don't know if women pee in the pool. I never thought that a woman would. It's guys, because they have this penis thing going on, and it's just like fun to use it. And I think that guys, especially young kids, like about 8, 9, 10 years old, they don't see any problem with peeing in the pool because they think that, well, that's such a large body of water. Granted, it's not the Atlantic Ocean, but it's a large body of water. If I throw a few drops of pee or a minor stream in here, who's going to know? Well, this is why I don't swim with my mouth open. This is why I don't walk up to young kids and say, why don't you just like drop your pants and pee in my mouth? Because that's basically what we're doing here. Sometimes I'll see these large women and men sitting in that little hole in the cement that what do they call that? Like a hot whirlpool thing or a hot something, a hot sauna, or it's not a sauna. It's a little cutout of water. And there's actually a timer that goes off, and what you do is you turn it on, and it reaches temperatures of like 3,000 degrees. It's like sitting in molten lava. And you're sitting there, and you start sweating immediately, and this is supposed to be good for you. It fits about 3 or 4 people. Did you ever get in there with a stranger? I never have. I never get in there with a stranger. But I see other people do that, and I say to myself, like, the last thing on the planet I would ever want to do is sit in a hole in the cement in heated water with nothing dividing me and your private parts other than a very thin piece of material. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And I don't think it takes any type of a brilliant person to say, if you're the kind of person that sits in these little whirlpool things at public hotels with other fat people, you've got some incredible social problems. I've done so many interviews with so many experts who say that if you've had some kind of diarrhea or something, don't go into a pool. It's like anybody would really care. You know, like, oh, I've had diarrhea all day, but I would like to go down the pool. Screw it. I'm going down to the pool. I don't give people any credit. Oh, I had diarrhea yesterday. I cannot go swimming in a public pool. That would be awful for the other people. Who does that? Who does that? It's just like little Johnny peeing in the pool. I mean, it's like, this is what they do. They don't care about you. So I will not get in a public pool unless it's kind of empty to the point where there's nobody in it. And even then, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's not my thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I hate people. It's that I don't like them. It's a big difference. I can exist on the planet with other people as long as we don't have much of an interaction beyond, hi, how are you? Thanks for holding the door open for me. By the way, to me, that is the test kitchen of manners. If you're walking through a door and there's someone behind you, a complete stranger, you hold the door open for them. I don't care if it's a child, a woman, a man, an elephant, it doesn't matter. You hold the door open for them. It's what makes us civilized. It's the only thing that makes us civilized. The only thing. If you don't hold the door open for a person coming up behind you and you just let it slam in their face, you are like a big asshole. Like you're like Trump. Everybody holds the door open for somebody else, and then you say thank you, and the other person says you're welcome. Not no problem. You say you're welcome. It's the only thing that keeps us together. It's the only civility that we share amongst each other. And you can do it in the heat of anger, too. I hate your guts. I hate your guts, too. I'm going to go through the door here. Let me hold it open for you. Thank you very much. You're welcome. It doesn't matter. It's just something you do. I don't know why that's not in the Bible. That should be in the Bible. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not be an adulteress, which means you have an affair with somebody behind somebody else's back. That's in the Bible. I don't understand why. I don't know how the Bible, or what is it, 10 Commandment as well? I don't know, all these rules and regulations. I didn't get the manual. But, it's like, thou shalt not kill. That's horrible. Thou shalt not have sex with my neighbor. What business of that is yours? That's a crime? It's a crime to have sex with your neighbor? No one told me. I know you're not supposed to kill people. I didn't know you're not supposed to have sex with people. It's in the Bible. It's paragraph 17. It's a commandment. I command you. No sex with your neighbor. Oh, crap. Seriously? Come on, man. That's in the Bible? Give me a break. I don't even know if it's in the Bible. I don't read that stuff. I really don't. I'm more into recipes, how to make fried chicken on a sidewalk on a hot day. I'm into that. That's about all I read. There's really nothing else worth reading. I know more than Alexa. I know how to make fried chicken on a sidewalk. Do you know how to make fried chicken on a sidewalk?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah, I didn't think you did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest, PA Brook, joins us coming up in just 1 second. What a wonderful, wonderful, funny guy. He also does a podcast. This is my nemesis, I suppose.
You are listening to The Ron Van Dam Show, the podcast world's version of painful itching and swelling. You know they sell a cream for that, right? It's over the counter. Works really well. I've had to use it a lot.
PA Brook joins us now. He's the author of a new book called If I Were God. I've often thought that was possible for me, but apparently not. He joins us now. This is very interesting. He's actually a CPA during the day, and at night he's a humor writer. And it's fascinating. I guess that's what happens when you're a CPA during the day. I'm sorry, that was a low blow.
No, that's okay. You have to do something to brighten up your life when you're a CPA.
That's true. He's done other things as well. And he joins us now. I find you fascinating, and
Thank you.
Yeah, because you kind of do what I do, but you do it very, very well. And that is, you take a look at everyday life, the things that people with blinders on don't really see. You see them, and you say something about it.
Well, yeah, that's right. And I've enjoyed writing despite being a CPA all my life. And I had an if I were God moment one day as I was opening junk mail and wondering why I get so much of it every single day. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing some research. I wrote some things down, and then I just started making a list of things that bothered me, and started having some fun with it. And next thing you know, I had a book.
Incredible.
Some of the topics are lighthearted, but some of them are very serious.
Yeah. When did you start writing this book, may I ask, or start jotting down ideas?
I probably 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I was working for part of the time as I was writing this book, being a CPA. Mm-hmm. I'm now retired. So it took a while to write, but I would just make a list of things that bothered me at night or on weekends, start writing it. See,
because things have changed so drastically in 4 or 5 years, especially the past 2.5. But did the political aspect of what's going on now have infiltrate into your psyche? In other words, originally one starts with with things that bother us on a daily little social basis, brushing teeth, whatever the case may be. And then things seem to get a little bit more intense on the political end. Did that influence you at all?
To some degree, because I went through a lot of editing, and as I got closer to the end, I did tailor some of my editing comments to what's going on currently. I mean, I've got chapters in there that are, front of mind, like gun control.
Yes.
And, legalizing drugs. I mean, I know New Jersey, where I just recently moved from, is struggling with legalizing marijuana right now. So, these are front page issues that I do discuss some of them.
It's interesting because things do change so quickly that nothing seems to be current unless you do stick with the stuff that is just social, mores and habits that we have.
Yeah, there's a chapter in here on I call them BS studies. They're research studies about, useless things. And I came across an article on Sunday in the local newspaper that basically had a study about fish, and one species of fish changes sex when it has to, which is, do we really need to research that to be better human beings?
I kind of wish I could do that, but
well, maybe not.
And I mean that in a theoretical sense.
Well, of course.
You also have a great way of titling your books. Your prior book, and I can say this actually, prior book is called "Oh Shit, I'm Over 50 and Single: A Guide for Mature Men and Women That They Date." Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't read that?
Well, I mean, hopefully people over 50 who are single would read it. I mean, I had a lot. I was over 50 and I was single and I was in between relationships and decided to give up for a while, and just sat there. What am I going to do now? Well, I always wanted to write, so I started writing. I started writing stories about my dating exploits and what went wrong, and I had gone through a lot of therapy and understood why my relationships had failed previously. And I just started not only a memoir, but advice for guys, as well as women. But it is geared towards guys because I'm a guy and I'm trying to help them out. And there are no books out there helping men, but men usually aren't going to go out there and look for that kind of advice because they think they know it.
Correct.
Already, which
Correct.
I certainly didn't, so I needed the help.
Yeah. No, it's like asking for directions. You just don't do that.
You don't do that.
Just don't do that.
Sorry, honey, I know where I'm going. 5 hours later, where are we?
Right. Of course, if you're alone, you'll stop. But otherwise...
well, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank God for GPS on our phones now.
I know. Yeah, now we don't have to go through that. It's interesting. You also claim that it's probably a good idea that we start using some new curse words. Most of them have been around forever. How many times can you hit your thumb with a hammer and say the same thing? So you had some ideas as to actually changing this up. Well,
that's one of the fun chapters. Yeah. And because, people have problems with cursing. I don't, obviously. If you read my book, you find it very colorfully written.
Just by the title of the other one, yeah.
Yeah, and I just had some fun with it. And, I went through some of the history of cursing, some interesting names, like real names of places and people that make you wonder what were the parents thinking or what was the mayor thinking when he named his city, after Climax. I mean, there's 21 cities named Climax in this country. Yeah, it's like, I know it has two meanings, but don't you think people are going to take the other one sometimes?
Always, yeah.
Yeah. So I came up with 4 curse words, which I guess on your show will not excuse me.
Yeah, we're good. We're good on that.
Require FCC fines in the future. But I basically took all the 2,000 curse words and narrowed them down into 4: Kelp, Karm, Zektu, and Oglekuss.
Oh.
They sound bad, but so did the F word and so did selfie when it first came out.
But these words are not connected to other meanings.
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
I tried to make them up totally, and I created their own meaning.
Quail sex and fish farts. What the hell's going on there?
That's exactly my question. What the hell's going on there? Who cares that fish fart? I mean, do you know that barnacles have the largest penis relative to their size of their body in all the species in all the world? It's 8 times bigger than they are.
Really?
Do the math. What are you going to do with that?
Wow.
There are so many studies out there that try to, I guess, claim that they can help humanity, but a lot of them, so many studies end with a conclusion that, more research is needed in this area. And they're studying quail sex and fish fights.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of a lot of money, and I think it needs to go away.
Probably.
Study stuff that's going to benefit humans.
Yes. And those things don't. I'm going to just name a couple of categories of which I totally agree with you, and most people probably do. Like, why aren't we doing this? What do we do about automated customer service? Yeah. Where to stick junk mail? That seems like a physical thing. Why golf isn't a sport, which is absolutely accurate. Why should we get rid of the penny? I mean, these are subjects where we go through this every day, and you kind of actually say, well, wait a minute.
Half the topics are probably fun things like the penny and junk mail and automated customer. I should say fun, but not, they're everyday things that everybody would agree with. Yeah. Then there's a lot of topics in there that are very controversial. I mean, I talk about gun control. I talk about organized religion. And I guess my point with especially the serious topics was to have some fun with them, make them humorous, make parts of it humorous. At least the gun control chapter I talked about, the NRA went away. What would it be replaced with? Well, maybe, the Blow Dart Association of America. Maybe that's how we would kill people. So I was hoping to inject a little humor into the topic, and maybe it makes it a little easier to talk about going forward, and we can be rational about how we debate these things.
I see what you're doing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's no question about it. And golf is not a sport, my God. I mean... Lord.
I'm a golfer. I'm not a good golfer, but again, I had fun with that. I hypothesized what golf originally looked like back in the Stone Ages when the hazards on the course were natural, like dead animals.
Yeah.
And and what was par back then? Probably 40, not 4. So I just had some fun with it and some of the terminology there. And I concluded that golf could stay a sport, but curling had to go.
I think all sports are absolutely kind of odd when you look at them. I mean, you're talking about golf, guys in pastel pants standing there with a stick. And then baseball, grown men standing on a field in their pajamas. It's just, the whole thing is just odd when you stop and look at things in a different way.
Yeah, and they get paid a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah, they do.
Because of the way society has evolved, not because they benefit society.
So this is your second book that you've released, is that right?
That's correct.
So I assume that a writer, especially who is no longer CPAing, I don't know if that's a verb, but it probably is.
We'll make it one.
Sure. What the hell? What are you working on now?
Well, as I was finishing up this book, other things were coming to mind in terms of things that bother me, and I said, well, I could do a sequel.
Sure.
So and to your point about being so politically charged today and how things change so rapidly, once I start creating a list, I'm sure that the topics will flow and there won't be much difficulty in coming up with new ideas about things that I would like to change in the world.
Yeah. It's the things that you got to write it quick, though, because things are so fluid that by the time you get the thing out to the public, I mean, something may have been changed in a major way, and then I spent all that time.
Right. Well, that's true. I mean, they could have stopped minting pennies from the time I started writing this to the time I finished.
Correct.
So,
in which case, you'd be a hero. So,
well, I could take credit.
That's right. Which is a whole different series of books. I think someday you're going to have a wing of a library someday, I have a feeling.
You're very kind to say that.
It just seems like it's possible. The book just goes through tons of different subjects, and you'll find that you'll connect with them. It's available everywhere, I assume.
Yeah, it's on Apple, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the retailers out there. Also, if you go to my website, PA Brook, there's a link to it there as well. And my website has some articles where you can get a flavor for how I write. They're free, just fun topics to talk about.
Cool.
The Mile High Club, I have a fun article on that. I talked about dads dating, when their daughters. I have a fun story about my daughter on there. Again, if you like my writing style, then maybe you go further and you click on the link to the book.
Great. Okay. And do you have a website that people can visit?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's pabrook.com.
Oh, that's easy.
Also, I on Twitter at author PA Brook. Both of those places you'll see,
Wonderful.
Again, interesting things that I put out, and hopefully you get a flavor for my writing style and like it.
Great. It's the short title is "If I Were God" by PA Brook. Also, probably there's "If I Were God" by Donald Trump, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been fascinating, and maybe we'll hook up again and see what else is on your mind in the near future.
Right, Ron. I really appreciate the time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice. Funny stuff. Good stuff. All right. I'm done for today. I am done. I am out of here. I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new show. I really hope you join me then, because I'll be waiting for you. I know it sounds a little creepy, but it's not like I'm sitting in my car watching you walk down the street. It's not like that at all. I'm just saying, let's do this again tomorrow. Why are you going there? What are you doing? I wish you peace.